about the SAFER grant and how the city will make its case for that?
Well, we have made the application. We actually made an application for the 2000 and I think the most recent round. I think it was the 2009 round. We were not granted an award. Our case is that we need the funds to maintain sufficient manning levels and to avert layoffs and to ensure that our insurance rating stays the same and provide the level of service that a city of 75,000 should be providing in fire protection. We're cautiously optimistic, but it's a very competitive grant program. It's open to every municipality in the United States.
Maybe it's not your area, but maybe just get your thoughts. We have a water treatment bond for a significant amount of money that residents are going to pay, and I'm being told it's going to be somewhere average around $600 per household. And then there's the insurance rating and the ISO rating, where at some point a decline in fire services results in an increase in the ISO rating, which transfers into increased homeowners insurance. And then there was a United Water rate increase, and at the time you talked about institutions within the community that aren't really paying their fair share. You know, just speaking to the residents, we're looking at all of that, and then looking at this budget. Would you have some thoughts on that you could share with the residents?
Well, on the water issue in and of itself, the residents will get a double whammy. They'll pay the rate increase to the water company. They will also pay through their property taxes the hydrant rental fee. The fire hydrants are owned by the water company. We don't have municipal water here. We have a private water company. And a similar increase in the rental fee that they charge to the city has been approved by the State Public Service Commission, despite an effort by 7 or 8 communities to fight that and come to a public hearing. We were, quite frankly, just ignored by the Public Service Commission. We pay, the city of New Rochelle and its taxpayers pay $1 million a year for the privilege of having fire hydrants in the rights of way of the city. That cost is not shared by the non-tax-paying entities of the city because they don't pay property taxes. Our argument was that they benefit from the use of not only water but of fire protection, and that they should pay their fair share. That argument was rejected by the PSC. So we are now, you will see in our meeting next week, we have retained, us and the other municipalities in the United Water system have retained an attorney to look for alternatives as a follow-up action, whether that's instituting a fee of our own for the use of the right-of-way, or possibly condemning hydrants. It's a number of things that we could do, but we have to have the legal means to do it. I don't write the Constitution that says certain entities are tax exempt. On the second hand, if you are referring also to development projects in the city that have received tax incentives, I will preface my comment by the fact that I believe that the incentives were the right choice when they were made to encourage development that otherwise would not have occurred in the city. However, they were made 15 years ago, and there's not much that I can do about something that was done before I was in the position that I'm in. So I would certainly like to see certain things done, but I'm realistic enough to know that the Constitution of the United States is not going to change to force not-for-profit or religious institutions from paying property taxes. That's not going to happen. We don't have any more, I guess we're about 30%, about right on the tax exempt. Yes, we're on the average, 30% of the property in the city is tax exempt. So while I understand the frustration with that, I have to deal with the things that are in front of me that we can control. And we don't have any control. We did, as you're well aware, you brought it up, we did change the original agreement with Avalon to get that upfront money, not about that value of the property money, earlier than we were supposed to get it. And without that $3 million, you can basically say we'd have either had another 6% property tax increase or gut the organization to the tune of $3 million. That's basically 25 to 30 more employees would have to go if we didn't have that $3 million. So that money was actually very beneficial in helping us balance the budget this year.
Well, I was actually thinking of a letter from Brother Ligori, which mentioned that there was close to 2,000 students that seemed to indicate that he was going to make a goal of encouraging them to register to vote locally and impact local elections, something I've called representation without taxation. And that's what I was thinking of. But the one last question I had was on the pension financing that...
Yes, I forgot to mention that. We are under the state law allowed to defer a portion of the pension increase and pay it over time. Of our $2.3 million increase, we are actually deferring $1.6 million of that. That is not something that we prefer to do. It's not particularly good financial management, but the alternative is a higher tax rate or another 10 to 15 layoffs to try to make up for that. That bill will come to roost next year. We're going to have to pay that $1.6 million next year. It is a multi-year program. I suppose you could do the same thing next year, but it's really just putting things off until the future. That we make it at some point in time. You got to deal with it, and we're hoping there's some level of stabilization between now and then when we have to make that choice. The budget, and this budget, this news meeting is about 2011. The budget for 2012 will be equally as difficult for us and probably for most everybody else.
Yeah, I guess the concern being that you talked about the multi-year picture not looking great, and then you're talking about further pension contribution increases from the state unless they reform, and then in this term you're borrowing, so taking on some debt. And I mean, how would you foresee that then changing? Doesn't it? I mean, it sounds like for a household, it's the formula to end up in serious trouble.
Well, I would say we're in serious trouble. We're going to have to see a couple things happen. There has to be some reform at the state level, and as Howard said, we're going to have to work with our residents and our employees, in my opinion, in coming up with a way to provide the services that we have to provide in a way that we can afford them. We can't borrow forever. We don't have a tremendous, we're well below our bonding limit that we would be able to bond if we wanted to. We have another thing that concerns me greatly is the fact that we worked very hard about 5 years ago to get our bond rating increased. The more we go down this road, it'll be reviewed by the rating agencies, and that ends up costing taxpayers money because it costs you more money to borrow. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and again, New Rochelle is not unique. These problems, the retirement issues that you've cited and these other issues, are affecting many other communities throughout the country. So these are not problems that we're fighting alone.
To get back to your first question, it was not something that Howard and I wanted to do, borrow money for retirement costs. But you have to make the choices that will have the impact of having us be able to, in this term anyway, provide the level of service that we believe that our residents deserve. As I said earlier, what we're really talking about here is the provision of police and fire and public works services. That's the great majority of what we do. Certainly our budget is available now online, so you can go look at it line by line. I'm very confident that there's nothing in there, but you or any other resident that finds something, we're happy to take a look at it. We're very tight. It's a very, very tight budget, and it's an uncomfortable budget. And the city council is going to have tough choices to make.
I have one question for Howard, which is the 2.3 or 2.5 million pension increase, but what is the actual total cost of the pension bill that the city is getting, and what percentage of that? I mean, I can do the math, but and what percentage?
About 9.8 million. 9.8
for next year.
That's about what, 10% of payroll?
Yeah, it's about, yeah, 9.2, it's almost $9.9 million is what we have budgeted for pension costs in the general fund only next year, which is about 9.2% of our budget.
It's a
And-
different rate for uniform services versus non-uniform.
So generally speaking, it's somewhere around 9%.
Yes.
The total budget,
No, it's not, no, it's 9% of our budget.
yeah.
But are you asking what the rate is per employee?
Per
No,
dollar.
I was trying to understand the money we're talking about here. How much
10%.
is going to pay people who don't work here anymore? That's really my question. Is
Well, no, it's not just to pay people, it's also to pay for the people to work. This
The fund
is the contribution
To the fund.
to the fund for employees that are currently working for us.
okay.
Well,
And-
current
and-
and retired
and
employees.
And you break that out for
The-
current and retired?
No. That's done on an actuarial study controlled by the state controller of what money they need from each community to pay future payouts plus what they're paying out currently.
And when you said it was 200,000 in the past, I didn't get the year.
That was in 2002.
Now, I want to be clear, that's because their investments were doing very well in 2002. The bill is based on how their fund performs. It's a major function of how we, but as costs continue to increase and the market continues to not perform as well as it did in those days, that's when we get hit.
Yeah. I'm
By the way,
just
health
getting-
insurance is also going up this year. That's also another cost that's determined by the state.
I'm just getting about a 4,600% increase in 8 years.
Right. Like I said, the difficulty in it is because the way they determine it is based on how the fund performs. But my point is, it's practically impossible for municipalities to actually do multi-year budgeting when you have such a variance. You have no idea what the number's going to be.
How much is health insurance going up? Is that
About $500,000.
from what to what?
For the general fund, it'd be about $12 million to $12.5 million.
That's what we pay for health insurance.
And is
That's
it-
for both retirees and for active employees. About 47% of our health insurance cost is for retired employees.
And as a point of clarification on the parks, we're talking about Hudson Park from Memorial Day to Labor Day,
It's the
right?
beach at
Because it's
Hudson
not
Park.
open other times, it's only Monday and Tuesday from.
From Memorial Day to Labor Day, whatever we
Yes.
close. And it's the beach portion, not the entire park, it's the beach where the lifeguards are. I'll point out that the county did a similar thing with Glen Island, I think, this year. They closed a couple of days. And the question is, if you're wondering, we're at the point now where it's either open 5 days or it's closed. You can't close it 2 more days because it's impossible to find people to work 2 or 3 days a week in the summer. So we're really at the minimum number of days that it's going to be open, if it's going to be open at all.
How about fees? Any changes in building fees, recreation fees?
There are minor changes in fees that I think we brought to the city council last night that are included in this. I don't know if there's anything of any major,
No major.
nothing of a major amount. We'll raise, I think we're raising in total about $100,000 in fees citywide. A lot of it is through,
Plus parking permits.
That's the
parks
whole
permits.
revenue from fees?
no, that's the increase.
Oh, the increase. And parking, you said?
We had a parking,
We had parking permit fees were approved for an increase by the city council last month.
Okay.
that's included in this.
Just the parking permit fees are 100,000?
No.
No, that
Don't
covers
confuse
what?
people. We put a series of fee increases, minimal fee increases based on contract increases and other things that were sent to the city council yesterday at the meeting. Those totaled about $100,000. I don't know what the parking permit fees total.
It would be about another 100.
About another $100,000. Okay? We all set?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.